Okay, this is on. Okay, this is gonna be the build up for the Warden. Preferably one of my more interesting classes that I don't get to play out. I don't play often. That I really enjoy. And also I would say one of the more more powerful self buff classes, especially in solo play. Next to Nightblade. Okay, so let's get right on into it then. Have some different CP setups, but it should be fine. I'll probably go over the same CP like the other classes. Let's go into the food though first. Of course, you know, your max health and max stamina, but if you're an orc, I would recommend running some RTM takeaway broth for that stamina recovery, or run a bit into health and then run the DPS food, the lava foot. So your choice there. Let's get some light up in this house real quickly. So we're just gonna put a bit of light right there. Yep, just to help. Okay, let's get right into it then, because this warden I've been kind of delaying my ass off on it for a long while now, and I would really like to just get this done with and move on to some other classes. Hopefully get the stamina sorcerer done before Stonethorn comes out because of the new update and everything. It's gonna be really interesting, and yeah. So we're gonna go over the gear first. Compared to my other classes, this one's gonna have a bit different compared to my other classes. So let's go right in. It's a bit different. I didn't get to switch my perfected bow, but if you never done VMA, this is the bow you would want to. If you done anime, you would want this bow. Doesn't do that much different, just a bit of crit differences, not that much different. And then you of course go right into the let's change up that personality. Let's go to cheerful. There we go. A bit more cheery. So we're gonna go with the both daggers of Vistophidian. I personally like to run precise because in VMA, I don't know why crit just seems to be a lot more appealing to me than anything else. So I prefer precise over anything else. And unlike the other class setups, where you kind of have a hard time picking sound, well, you do kind of hit a bit here too. But we're also going to go over the two-hand a bit. Even though I don't have the exact abilities on, I could just tell you and show you what I would run. Preferably the dual wield is really good once you know how to run VMA or even anime for that fact. And then you got the Slane's Mask. The only reason I do this over Slime Craw is because of this right here. Bird of Prey. When you're all slotted, you have Might of Berserk. So basically it gives you the Slime Craw buff. So I'll run a proc set like Celine's or Krog's. So one of those two sets. Depends how you feel. And then this is another one, Zofkin's. It gives a good bit of penetration, and it stacks up to 10 times. And basically it gives you a minor force, so that's where you take off the trapeze. And also it gives a slot, so you could actually run some other abilities. So it stacks up pretty quickly, so there you go, it's at maximum now. You basically got that crit. And as long as you keep doing damage, it will keep going. You don't need to activate this, it does give a nice bit amount of speed. So that's basically how you would be having it. Like this. The Warden has their own sorts of major fracture and minor vulnerability. So be grateful there for your Warden players. You have a lot of self buffs compared to the rest of the game. Rest of the classes in the game. Has the bear subs attacking, but we'll give that a bit. So I don't have a fully upgraded yet. It's all right. Softkins is very powerful. What the changes, what it looks like for next patch with Bloodthirsty. From what I saw, it's not going to be doing the execute damage. So until then, I am going to just stick with Infused for VMA because of the burst damage, and you would only want to run Bloodthirsty in most likely Dungeons of Trials just because of the execute. In VMA, that's not a good idea. If anything, when you're first starting, just keep it as max stamina, like robust or something. I haven't translated this piece too. So just run infused weapon damage so you can get a good 278, so like by 500 to 600 weapon damage overall. And with the changes to Bloodthirsty next patch, we will be having, from what I calculated, it said 350. You get 350 weapon to spell damage to the enemies below 90%. So you'll be having 1100 damage overall. To that, so it will go into effect a lot quicker and have a lot more use than Bloodthirsty than just being only execute. So yeah, and if you do not have this, I don't think I have. If I can really show anything in the bank, I forgot this is my house. It's not a freaking. So let's retrieve that real quickly. I don't think I have anything in here to Battlefield Acrobatic at all. From what I see, I do not. So yeah, that's kind of saddening. By a zombie. So we're basically, yeah, that's Battlefield Acrobatic, still really good. It's I know I've told some people to use if they don't have Vicious Leviathan. You lose the Minor Slayer, maybe some crit damage, and then you get the weapon damage. But you do not get the 2150 stamina after every death, every kill. Which next patch they are gonna be showing the timer on it, which I believe was a 12-second timer. It still is. Of course, preferably Orc, just like Khajiits, because of course they're fucking adorable to me. But I think it's personal preference. You can still do good with any of them. Damage differences. Orc will have like a 5k damage buff comparing to the Khajiits, and then Dark basically goes Orc, Dark Elf, Orc, Dark Elf, Khajiit, Wood Elf, and I believe Redeguard. After the changes for patches a long ago. So enough about that. We're going to be going into the skills. So I would be running the bear personally, but depends on how you feel. I have not had this morph yet, and I took off Travis for a bit. It is fully upgraded though. So Dawnbreaker I prefer to run just because of the Slayer to get that weapon damage buff. So I would run points into Slayer and then Dawnbreaker and get all that extra damage, and it's not that bad of an ultimate. But if you do not have the time to upgrade, grind it, you don't really have to with this build. Same with the two-hand, you can just run the bear. Still very good. He might die on a couple arenas because of like the lightning damage on the floor or the ice or the freezing waters. Besides that, he's really fine. So of course, get the fuck out of my face. Not my champion points. We're gonna go into Whirlwind. Basically our basic execute, usually. Preferably in dungeons to solo content I use this. Almost anything though, for real. We all know what this does. Physical damage to nearby enemies, deals up to 100% damage to enemies with less than 50% health. But once it hits 25% is when this really goes into effect. And then, before then, you have Cutting Dive. Dealing physical damage. It has a big range, so if you are using Bobo, you can still do pretty good Bobo. Has a very far range. The beetles though, they will not hit that far. I think they're like 16 meters. Let me see. Yeah, they said they have 16 meters, I believe. I can read it real quickly. 20 by 7 meters, so close enough. Cutting Dive. When you're more than 7 meters away, you can set a target off balance for 7 seconds. And since the way this game works, dual wield does extra damage, and there's a passive in the champion points that gives you extra damage. 10% extra damage for off balance damage. So we have a 30% overall, maybe for Whirlwind depending. But Bobo, this should also work really well too. I do not have my bow leveled up all the way on this character, but you can run, since you're not going to be having Whirlwind, you can run optional stuff like Arrow Spray, Scatter Shot if you feel like it, or the Snipe. Preferably the Cutting Dive though when it comes to VMA. then you almost a must-have here is the reason why we're not running Night Mothers. Is I call these semi-spammables. The Subterranean Soul by 20 by 7 meters, duration 3 seconds, and it deals after 3 seconds deals 13,000 damage, and it will do a major fracture for 6 seconds. So, like I showed earlier, you basically be going like this, and every 2 abilities you fit in, say like 2 cutting dives, 2 maybe swarms for some damn reason. Every 2 abilities you have is every one of these beetles. They do so much damage. It's really recommended. So overall, probably one of the best. Next to Blast Bones, they both do so much damage. So this is basically what rotation would be looking like on the Stamina Warden. It'll probably be looking somewhat the same for the bow. And 2-hand, besides if you wanted to run the cheese, my cheese build, which we'll go right into that. I would be running Brawler for the cheese, so you can literally survive anything in the world. And then of course I would reverse slash and then reverse slice for the AoE damage, nothing else. Passives of course. So that's all you'd be running there. And then you got your minor vulnerability, 12,000 physical damage over 10 seconds, and it does minor vulnerability. Enemies near the carrier take a bit of physical damage themselves. 1682 every 2 seconds of duration. So it kind of does a good AoE. And then I already showed you this one, Bird of Prey. Minor Berserk gives you some speed. Good run around set or skill. Of course, your Vigor, which next patch they're making it so basically as soon as you enter Battlegrounds, you immediately get your 3 levels and you can unlock Vigor. So for Stamina players, that's a big plus, so we don't have to rage through it with no heals. Bull Nutch. I don't think you use it this much anymore, but regardless, I think it will still be very viable when it comes to certain kind of setups, you would say. But I would really recommend this. It removes every 5 seconds. The net removes 1 negative effect from you, so slowness, bleed, anything, it'll do it. And it restores 4,966 stamina for you over 25 seconds. It's not a lot if you think about it, but it's kind of like the leeching strikes on the Nightblade. It does a good bit over time, and it increases your weapon and spell damage. So there's that. But it basically is the potion buff too. But now we're moving on to Endless Hail. And yeah, before I was using Air Barrage, but now Endless Hail, with the way stuff is going, Endless Hail is really nice. 14 seconds duration. 1 second for 12 seconds after a 2-second delay. So he launches up, 1, 2, and it goes down for 14 seconds. Of course, your main basically. But with the way it's looking like next patch for the dual wield. We're going to be running most likely Black Rose. I do not have any to present at the moment. It's on another character. The Perfected just gives you stand recovery. The normal doesn't. All it does is basically once you activate Deadly Cloak, it gives you 6% damage done for every time it explodes. So basically the timer resets constantly. So it lasts kind of like 12ish seconds, kind of like the same amount as this, but it increases the damage of everything you do. Soul Trap, this, whatever, anything you do by 6%. But I saw some buffs. I think it was 12%, but I think that's a lie. So let's get off of that topic. Soul Trap or Consuming Trap. You can use Soul Swinging Trap if you know how to sustain it, but I prefer this one because it restores 6,411 stamina and heals you, and a bit of magicka too. Okay, let's move on. Poison Injection, your main source of nice dot from a distance. That's kind of can't really say much else. So I already showed what it looks like on the dummy. The kind of rotation. I'll probably show it again right at the end. So also I was grinding a new set that I would recommend looking into is Twice Fang Snake. If I'm gonna have to pull a zombie back out real quickly. I do not think I have any inside the bank. But let's see. It is getting a buff next match, and it's looking interesting. I hope I have a piece sitting around. But from the looks of it, I do not. I think it could either be on my tank too, when I was doing some Sanctophenia runs. Hunting's Rage still an optional. But prefers Zofkins and the Night Mother's Gaze when it comes to especially the other classes. So we'll go over CP. Yes, this is actually some PvP CP, so let me do this real quickly just for you guys. I keep pulling out a zombie. This is a little bit more screwed up than the other times because I moved some stuff around in the houses, and I was not prepared because this character was PvP for a bit. But it should be fine. So we're gonna go over this real quickly. I remember this from the mine. So you're gonna be wanting, to run that 81 Ironclad because you'll be taking on all the damage. And then I run kind of like the Hell Raw CP and CP that works out in general. So 49 Hardy, and let's take that out of there. Wait, 2 more. 49 there, 48 there. You do not need all these points, so we're doing as this goes, so you can technically copy off of what I'm doing. So you don't really need much in tenacity either. Running about 20. And we're gonna reduce the cost of blocking just by a bit, because you're not gonna be blocking a lot. And just put the rest of the points in tenacity. Now we're gonna take these points out of here. I would run pretty much the same as my Necro when it comes to this area in CP. So 3 physical weapon experts here. And then 74, 75, 72. Yeah. And of course Thaumaturg. There's not a crazy amount of dots when it comes to the Warden, but there's a good bit. So we're just gonna run like 45. I think I might have to redo that real quickly. And the Mighty would be like, it'd be like 64. And Piercing down a bit. Piercing Strikes would be up like that, and there we go. So this is what you would be running when it comes to your DPS part, your survivability part. I would say sustain area. So yeah. And then these two. And spend those points real quickly. There we go. So now we actually have a bit more DPS when it comes to this real quickly, so let's just give that a go. You can't really see the numbers real quickly, but you get kind of the rotation that's going on here. It's pretty straightforward. What I usually look at it is left to right. So after you go to your back bar, you activate your abilities here. And then Beetle, 2 cutting dives, Beetle again, 2 cutting dives, Swarm, and then again. Originally you should be doing the growing swarms first though, because you need that minor vulnerability when you're doing the little, damage right there. So let's go a little bit easier on that rotation there. So starting off, so get your little netch up. So there you go, you got your little netch. And then since we're not running trap based on this rotation when it comes to VMA, so we're gonna start off like this. We're gonna do a Beetle first. But that's if the enemy's right in front of you. So if it's like a boss, I would go like this. And then get ready. And then growing swarm, back bar, poison injection, soul trap, your Beetle again, and if you have ulti, do the bear, and then boom, 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 like that. And then after a bit, after you see your air barrage disappear, go like that. And then you go to your front bar and activate again, but you can, let's just kill this off quickly. It's shitty DPS because I was redoing it real quickly. But when you go to your back bar and do this, which is usually your endless hail and little net here, before I learned how to do this rotation, I would go like this, and then activate poison injection and soul trap, and then go back to the front. But as you start to go into the you know, get your rotation a bit better, you start to go like this, and then you go like that. You activate your beetle again, go to your back bar and activate soul trap or poison injection first, and then make your way to the front bar, and then do it as I showed you. Your swarm first, cutting dies, and so on. Then once that's done, you go like this. So this is what it'll look like if you don't know the rotation. It makes it pretty simple, but after a while, if you can, it will adapt pretty easily. So yeah. But if you still don't feel that comfortable with the spammable, there is a lot of other options. Flurry, even Hidden Blade, but it's kind of hard to sustain with. This one I did for a bit was Silver Bolt, the other version. It does pretty decent damage if I were to say so myself. Plus it does, go into Slayer. Yeah, this chair is very fucking old. So that's basically your warden right there for VMA. When it comes on to next patch, I'll be doing updates. If there's really no other updates, I won't really do it. But if anything, I'm delaying until the Stamina Sorcerer gets its change, so I'm not doing that this patch. And I might do the Stam DK and Stamina Sorcerer next patch. Stamina Templar will be the next one, though. Pretty... I personally wouldn't want to do it, but it is... even people have a hard time with the Stamina Sorcerer. Oh, not Sorcerer, but Stamina Templar, even with any other class, so help is all its help is needed. And if you don't know, the way I test my VMA builds is I try to get Flawless Conqueror first.